to take leadership on, not these other things that we see you giving directions to governors. So for me, Governor Mutula was here, and he had a document they have signed, and it says it should be a template for all the 47 counties. The stories you have told us, unfortunately, are unsupported. And Governor, you have referred us back to that contentious document of yours. My concern is this. You have 113 million in unpaid gratuity for your public servants. And this is a problem for us in the Senate because people who left the service may be retired. They have no time for these stories, especially if I was to share this schedule with them and see how much this hotel called the Grand Oasis. What is it, the name?
Grand Oasis.
Yes. Have you gone back to that schedule? Yeah, Chair, it is a question of priorities.
Okay.
Yeah, there are people who do not prioritize Mwananchi. If somebody has retired and they are due gratuity, really those are the people who you should prioritize and not catering services, accommodation, gifts, food and drinks from that schedule that I was referencing, which is almost 6 million shillings in tea and mandazi. And you have people who have retired there. They have nothing to eat. So, Governor, it's also a question of priorities. I don't know why you have prioritized KRA because they can freeze your accounts. I suspect that's the reason. But these, yes, these ones from, these ones looking for their gratuity. Where can they find you, Governor?
And you see,
okay.
The governor is confessing that the accounts were frozen and you should prioritize them. Now, these are the guys who have nothing against you. What they have no leverage. I mean,
fine. I believe this is a matter that is important not just for Wajir. So we'll do specific cases, but also try to look for a global solution.
Chair, Annex 6. Governor, what did you want to prove with this Annex 6? Because I can see there was a principal amount of 47 million, then there was total accrued interest of 14 million. That was on 10 June 2025. I think it is a payment of 458 million, 137,709.7. That is Annex 6. So is it when the OAG queried about 732 million, 615,329 shillings, is this part of it or it is different? Is 458 trying to offset the 732, or what is the place of this Annex 6 that you are trying to tell us you have paid with the issue of bluff fund? Can we get that distinction, or you are just, and to emphasize, secondly, finally, Chair, is that I thought this issue of statutory deductions, be it KRA, I think, Chair, we had a conversation where we were arguing that if there is late exchequer releases, they should not be penalized by KRA. And I don't know, as the COG Chair, you have had conversation with KRA saying that since there are late exchequer releases, then counties should not and must not be punished over KRA tax penalties. I don't know, as governors, as a governor of Wajir, have you, or as a COG, have ever sat and agree, because it is unfair that counties get late exchequer releases, then they are penalized KRA. So I think, Chair, Governor, if that one has not been on COG agenda, you can put it next time over our names. I think that would be better. I yield back, Chair.
Okay, and Governor, as you respond, I think there's been some conversation that payroll processing, and particularly statutory deductions, be done at the national level. I think there's some conversation about that. And as a Senate, we are concerned that the minute you hand over your payroll to the national government, you have handed over the counties back. But it was for situations like this, where approvals are granted, money is deducted but not remitted. You might also want to comment on that, but start with the issues raised by Senator Maruma.
Senator Maruma, the 732 is the principal sum. It doesn't include interest and penalties. So whether for gratuity or the 7.6 for NSSF, and that one we I think is being paid now, and this is all for basic, what do you call, principal sums. Number one. Number two,
Sorry, Governor, is that a fact? Because you've got Appendix 6 here, where the principal is far much lower. So do we take that the 732 is principal without interest?
Appendix what?
This one, this figure is for only this general, all of them. This is, but this annexes is only for lab fund.
And
So the 732 is principal without interest?
for everyone, both lab fund and
Without interest.
without interest.
Okay.
And that's where I'm headed. Because Senator Cherge asked, what am I trying to prove with that schedule, which has the 47 million and the 410? Senator, it's part of the negotiations we're having, which we can't seem to agree on, because the principal sum, for instance, for lab fund was 47 million, but the interest they were asking for is 410 million. And this matter went to court, and we're in court, and we're saying, for us to be able to prioritize the principal sum, because this was something that was mismanaged, and they also didn't do their part to follow and seek for payments or court process on time, we can't be able to find that money all at one go. That's the point I was trying to make.
Governor, Governor.
Can I just finish?
No, on that point before you get out of it, because it's a conversation we have had. Lab Fund is right to demand an interest, because that interest is a return on investment on the pensioners.
Yeah.
So it looks very big, very awkward, but the pensioners also expecting a return on investment on their contributions. So right. you argue against it, then you're arguing against the benefits of your staff. That's a point I wanted to make.
It's a catch-22, Chair, because this money, the controller also has just said that is not going to approve. And by the way, there are even instances where someone was very ill or something, and we tried to pay, and the controller said, no, this was released before, I'm not releasing this money again. So that's where we are, and this is why we're trying to, probably with Senate's help, because there are counties that can absorb big amounts like this. There are others where it will distort everything. And if everything worked, from audit to, the system and everything, at that time would be in this situation. I don't want to go there, but this is the reality. What have you done? We agreed, first of all, that we pay on time. We are among the best payers as of today. As for this other matter, we are still negotiating. As I said, even this fiscal year, we have some little money, but we have not reached an agreement on the way forward. We are also engaging on the question of Treasury being able to pay them upfront and try to see if that can be amortized over equitable share for a longer period. So I think I have answered, unless there's a particular question that... so as to the question Senator Sifuna asked, maybe their negotiations were easier. I don't know what their numbers were and for how long, because in my case, we've dug a hole for 25 months. Yeah, so probably if it was less, it's easier to deal with. And probably also they don't have these other huge pending bills on assets verifiable and in use. But I think the contention of the controller, that the controller is not going to release it twice, shouldn't really be there, because they are asking us to pay for the physical assets, and even that was also released and misapplied. So
I think where there was a release, there should not be a further approval.
Governor, can you clarify to me if there's ever been an engagement at COG level with Lab Fund?
Yes, we continue to engage. And even, I think, at the beginning of this month, we have another engagement, I think around the 29th, with Lab Fund. We've just had an engagement with CPF, where we met in Kwale, discussing this, among other things. There are also issues on their side, Chair, which I shouldn't bring, extraneous issues which I shouldn't bring here. Much as the interest they're asking is high, in this country also there's no law on minimum return to employees. So sometimes also, even in the fund's investment, what the employee gets is very small, much smaller than even the penalties interest. So
Because of unremitted contributions. Because you only invest what you have.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
cannot
so-
fault the employees themselves, governors, because
not the employees. I'm saying the schemes,
The funds.
the funds, in other countries also.
Yeah,
So I think, Chair, on this one, I mean, much as I'm in this situation, I am a believer that you cannot deduct somebody's money and not remit it.
Chair, you know the question that I asked,
Governor, actually, that is criminal.
As,
If you ask me, it's actually criminal.
not really been
Oh,
answered.
no, I mean, it's theft. You're stealing from, you're actually stealing from yourself and stealing from the employee.
Chair,
Senator Mohammed?
yeah, the question I asked the governor required some empathy. Because if you don't put yourself in the shoes of those people who have retired, you will not prioritize the payment of this money, of gratuity. Some people retire when they are rich. Some retire when they are extremely poor. An ECD teacher retiring, going home, and being told that your money was not remitted, and you know the man has retired and has some kids in college or even in school who require also assistance. Now, if you say that money was not remitted but deducted and not remitted, so there's nothing you can do, you're not being empathetic enough.
And in fact, Chair, this is why I was pushing the question of time. Governor, we have all been in these offices now for 4 years. Yeah, I am very happy, by the way. I'm proud of this committee. I told you when we started, Chair, we resolved the question of penalties for KRA for you. Correct. Because whereas you run around, some of you saying that devolution is working, that the national government has done better than previous administrations, you're up to date with the remittances. It is not true. In private, you come and cry to us that, oh, we are behind 3 months, 2 months remittance. And when we had that conversation...
I don't know that you've paid May salaries. Have you paid May salaries?
He has said himself we are behind 2 months.
Yes.
His salaries, yes.
May. You have paid May.
Yes.
You have received your disbursements for May.
Not yet, but I've paid.
Okay.
You see,
Senator Sifuna?
Regardless of whether receipts are received or not, I have I pay somewhat my salaries on time,
so
including the statutory reduction.
So my point was, those people who are watching us at home, who Senator Mwaruma has described, Governor, in this city, I don't know about Wajir, in this city, if you are unable to pay your rent, they come and lock the door. So you imagine, just 1 month's rent, they remove the mabati from the house and you have to go. Now, you are telling these pensioners that it's an ongoing conversation. 4 years into our term, we're actually going into elections. We've actually started campaigns. I personally have started campaigns. So, what assurance can we
Point of
give?
order, Elections Act is very clear on campaign period. So, Senator Sifuna, you might be careful.
Yeah, come and arrest
because
me.
you normally argue.
You
cannot
know where
defend
to find him.
You know where to find me.
Okay. There's
You can
no
send
problem.
police to I have already announced my next rally. You can send them there.
Okay.
But Governor, the point I was making is this: that empathy that he spoke about requires that we expedite these processes. If these other pensions have been able to find agreements with some of your colleagues in the council, just get one meeting and agree with these people. What is the way forward? Withdraw those matters from, because the people are suffering, and that was the point.
Actually, on that bit of empathy, Governor, when you left office in 2017, were you and the team you exited with paid your gratuities?
100%.
100%.
Yes. In fact, I needed it. I went and collected my gratuity.
In 2023, the last elections were 2023. 2022, when you returned to office, was the governor and those who were in office in that period, have they been paid their gratuities?
Not yet. And actually,
why?
And tried to pay, and the controller did not approve because some of them, I don't want to say who, were in pretty bad situation. And out of empathy, I tried to pay, and the controller said, no, you can't. And Senator Marua, I am the one who's actually arguing.
Chair,
Maruma, so what would be the challenge? Because
But Chair,
you were
I
paid
thought
promptly.
somebody's right. Why would the
Chair,
governor be using empathy
that
to pay?
response is also very suspicious. You know, it's like I decided, then I said no, we're not.
No, he was paid
And
promptly.
chair, I
No, we
thought
requested, the request is not approved
Chair,
because for
I
gratuity.
thought statutory deductions or employees' issues or statutory deductions are somebody's right. It doesn't depend on empathy. So why is the governor saying empathy?
No, so, Governor,
And we
why-
know very well he didn't leave office. He went for election petition in 2022. So what does he mean? And yet the previous administration paid him on time, but he doesn't want to pay. So the question is, what is the reasoning behind it?
Let me clarify that.
Yes,
Let
Governor.
me clarify. First, it's not the previous administration that paid me on time. No. Please just let me explain.
Yeah, please explain.
Because both our pensions and our gratuity were with the fund administrators in my time. I made sure that I remitted the funds to the fund administrators. I did not have to talk to my successor to get my money. I walked over to CPF and I collected my money because my administration rather had been remitting. Now, here we have a situation where the administration that was in office was not remitting the funds for 25 months, not remit funds for 25 months to the fund administrators,
But deducting.
but deducted. And Senator Marua, why I was clarifying this, it is not me who was saying it's not payable. It's the controller you had saying, once you have remitted this, you can't do it again. The challenge on my side was to sign off on an agreement. Senator and Sifuna, I want to assure you that someone will agree. And before I leave office, I can clear this amount, but some chunk will be paid to both CPF and lab fund. But what I'm saying is, because ideally, everybody is with one of the two, either lab fund or CPF. If administrations were disciplined to remit timeously, then this situation should not obtain. That's all I'm saying.
Should therefore the deductions be done at the national level? Because you have a crisis here. You have 5 years of discipline, 5 years of alleged indiscipline. How do we ensure that this matter is sorted out? Because, and I think the controller is right, the money was released. It was diverted to some other purposes. You must find a way of funding that expenditure, perhaps even with interest. So going forward, are we seeing a situation where we are saying county governments have become so indisciplined that they must be supervised by the National Treasury on deductions?
Chair,
The response to that, Governor, just clarify whether that 25 months of non-remittance is for all the employees, including for the governor himself.
Chair, as I said, the Wajir case is probably, with respect to the pending bill situation, was the worst of all worlds. There are also other counties, governors who, when they came into office, inherited as little as 15 million shillings or 50 million shillings of pending bills. So whether we should change the law just because of a few bad situations, I think that that's a matter for all of us, not only for me, because the architecture does not allow currently the setup of the PFM architecture a mechanism for national government to deduct money at source without first hitting the CRF.
Well, they did it with MES, you remember?
Right. At MES, it was a book entry in a sense. You know, they were like saying they allocated us X as conditional grant, but it wasn't really part of the equitable share in a sense. So it was like a donation. We've made a donation to you, and you know we're keeping it up in the air. Sort of that was what it was, how I understood it. But there is no mechanism really for that to happen, for Treasury to decide we're not remitting a part of your equitable share. One thing that has now happened in the last, I think, 1 month, from April, which is a plus and a minus at the same time, is that the payroll is now being handled through IFMIS, right? The HRS, the Integrated Human Resource System, is now been integrated with, the module has been integrated with IFMIS. So salaries have to be paid through IFMIS just like everything else, individually to the employee. The downside of that is when, as Senator Sifuna says, there are delays in disbursements and releases, then the utilization of the soft banking arrangements that some counties use to pay salary becomes difficult, because the banks can't be the ones paying the employees' money through IFMIS. IFMIS only accepts, it's only integrated to the county operational and development account. So it becomes more difficult actually to get banking help, right? So as to the question of how this is handled, I think, Chair, it's a question of the control environment. It's a question of also timely audits and timely oversight and timely action, I think. Because if we were to go the route of deducting that at the source, remember, even the pending bills that I'm being crucified about here have to do with money that has actually left the CRF account, has been released by the controller, but was misapplied, or there was an over-budgeting of expenditure above the budget. Because if there is no mechanism for county governments to be in deficit, county governments must stick to their budget. And if there are overshots because of a disaster or something, then that should be something that can be managed within the next budget or something like that. If a disaster happens or something. But it shouldn't be something that cannot be absorbed by the next regime. Because when you have 7 billion or 5 billion of pending bills and all the money was released and utilized, I think, Senator Moro, you also have to be a bit empathetic with me.
Well, and all these are offenses committed by the team that you lead. Honorable members, how do we get away out of this? Because all these are instances of poor financial management in counties. There's a specific case of Wajir, but it cuts across. Now, there has to be a solution. So Wajir, the first 5 years are doing the right thing. The second 5 years, they're doing the wrong thing. The next 5 years, they're doing the right thing. The next 5 years, you don't know what's going to happen. You've got employees. They are looking at the Senate and all these institutions to come up with a solution. I am not hearing a solution. I am hearing a detailed description of the problem.
I think for me, Chair, there should be certain consequences. I think where we are failing as a nation is the consequence part. How is it conscionable for you to preside over an administration that deducts money from employees? Don't remit, then you tell us you also don't have a solution. Even criminal sanctions should follow such people. I mean, it's unconscionable. They come to our offices here, Chair, at KICC, and they are in bad shape. They come to cry in our offices, and we can't just say there's nothing to do. I think there should be criminal consequences for CEOs who do that you deduct money and you don't remit. And then the COB says they can't release twice. I mean, those are the conversations we should be having, Governor, at COG level, at the Senate level. And we're willing and ready to help. For as long as you don't see us enemies. We can sit and talk about these things. But for me, I think there should be some level of responsibility, criminal responsibility for people who are doing these things.
Senator Chirarke?
Maybe, Chair, I agree with the Nairobi Senator that if this money was released and the governor has described this in detail what happened, and also the reluctance of COB, which we agree with, not to release money that had already should have been remedied. This was a pure theft. And I think, in my own opinion, certain consequences, including investigations and prosecution, and I'm happy, I don't know whether ESCC are here with us. I think anybody found culpable, then and now, because the Constitution under Article 2265 is very clear that you should be held accountable while or even after you leave office. So there is no expiry or reflection of criminal liability if somebody took the people's money, the staff of Wajir. And Governor, we cannot be sympathetic with you because you already received your gratuity in them. So sympathy will not be there today.
Yeah.
So what I'm just saying in simple, Governor, and we agree with you largely, is let anybody, including your staff who are here, who might have participated in this well-orchestrated criminal enterprise of stealing from the employees, they must be investigated and prosecuted. I think ESCC is normally with us. They just pick it up so that as we pursue for a resolution on this matter, somebody in this country, Chair, we should punish the issue of corruption to be as rare as a snowball in hell, so that somebody cannot walk into a public office, steal, get away with it, go to Santorini, and enjoy their lives as if nothing is happening, Mr. Speaker. I know Senator Sifuna does not know where Santorini is, but I will share with him. It's one of the exotic places.
Okay, members, looking at the time, we just have 20 minutes, so let's be conscious. Senator Wambua.
So, Chair, on the same note, you know, Governor, the truth of the matter is the people of Wajir, especially those who have already retired, they are out of the payroll, definitely are expecting that because you are appearing today, there will be a solution or a way forward to their issues. It's easy to say it wasn't me. It's an easy thing to say, but you know, for that mama, for that old man, who worked tirelessly to make Wajir County what it is today, and they are at home now with nothing, and the only thing we can do here is to say their former governor did not remit their deductions for 25 months. They already know that. What hope, what exactly is it that your government is doing to ensure that those people, in a way, you reduce their suffering? It's first of all, you agree with me, it's criminal. It's really a very bad thing for a governor to deduct money from employees and not remit. It's a criminal act. So what exactly are you doing before the ESCC comes for you or for whoever it is that they have to come for? What exactly are you doing about those people?
Chair, you know, I'm not an accountant, but is it not possible to know if some money came, like 200 million, a receipt from Treasury for paying salaries, plus gratuity and everything? If the salaries were paid at net and the remittances were not made, is it not possible to know where that money went to and who misappropriated? I think it's possible to know. Because then if you have received money this month and you've paid the employees and the money that is deducted, say 20 million, was not remitted, we should know where that money went to and the person who misappropriated that money. And number two, Chair, we should be able as an oversight body to direct the county to pay this money. First of all, any payable should serve as a first charge, as a priority charge on any receipt. Why can't we direct that this also happens for this money?
Yeah, Governor, I think you have seen the mood of the Senate, that these are issues that we want to engage on positively because they impact on the lives of the very people we rely on for service delivery. Having described the problem, what do you put as the action you're going to take individually as a governor of Wajir and broadly as the leader of the team of governors?
Chair, that it's a criminal offense. Everything we have discussed here with respect to pending bills is a criminal offense. Because not only for the statutory, I keep repeating, even for those classrooms that people are threatening to close, the money was released, not applied appropriately. And it's easy to blame the governors, but even the governor himself, his gratuity was not paid. So this is, and of course, the tone at the top and everything is important, but I think there were officers who were in these roles, in HR, in finance, in procurement, who ought to have known better. And all these reports are everywhere. They are with the Senate, they are with ESCC, they are all over. I mean, there's nothing confidential about them. That's one. Two, so it's budget indiscipline, Senator Wambua. It's budget indiscipline. You know, people are just issuing LSOs left, right, and center. They committed more than they budgeted for. Some were done, some weren't done, right? There even some that were paid which weren't done. All these is in all these reports, you know, and as I've said, I've given copies of all these reports to Senate, to ESC, to everybody. What am I going to do? Yes, probably I accept you could have, you know, agreed to something much earlier, but they gave us hope, the schemes, that they were willing to, because we are now compliant and we are among the better payers, timely payers, they were going to look at, you know, interest and penalty waiver. So we'll fast track that process and start paying. We'll put something substantial for the coming year's budget, but also have an agreement that's legal that binds the next regime to also pay, number one. Number two, we're also making the effort that I've said, because it's not only us, it's many counties, and the damage is already done, and there's no mechanism for bailout for counties when things are messed up, to see whether Treasury can get into some Treasury bonds or something. I know this has happened before with respect to the sugar industry and people like that for, you know, government guaranteed debts, and then take a guarantee against the equitable share or something. So those are conversations I'm willing to have. But with respect to Wajir, all I can do is speed up agreement, see whether, because it's also, when this mess happened on the watch of everybody, Chair, it's not also fair to punish the current regime to pay 410 million in interest against a 47 million principal, you know, I mean, and we also have to provide services, you know, in all areas and meet current commitments. So it's a challenge, but I'll get an agreement, pay something substantial, and then commit the next regime. That's what I promised the Senate. Thank you.
Okay, Auditor General, please check in the 25-26 audit whether this problem is recurring. Because the governor said that the problem, he has fixed it, save for historical matters. So you'll give us an assurance that statutory deductions, be they pensions, KRA, SHA, NSSF, SACCOs, insurance premiums, etc. I think if this is a matter that recurs, then we should define it as a persistent material breach of the PFM. And we must call the National Treasury and ask the National Treasury why they should not invoke Article 225 on stoppage of funds, not just for Wajir, but for all counties. This is the true definition of persistent material breach of the law. Colleagues have talked about criminal sanctions, but restitution must also follow, because it's not enough to jail someone who stole your money and then you remain there looking poor. So I think we'll make those recommendations, but the critical thing is to ensure that this is not recurring. We have quite a number of matters to discuss, but time is limited. We had already gone through this report earlier. There are a few issues where we can take the written responses, but there are few paint as a disturbing picture of the entity. For example, the Auditor General has queried excessive drivers in Wajir. And the Auditor General says you have 149 vehicles and 216 drivers. So I don't know whether they are drivers or turn boys. But when you look at that from a perspective of prudence, So actually, there are two paragraphs. There's a paragraph on unserviceable motor vehicles and equipment. Says that 90 vehicles are grounded and unserviceable. Then when you go further in the report, issue number 19 on page 11 of the certificate, you've got a finding on excessive drivers. So these are the little leakages that will sink the ship. Governor, what's your comment? Just broadly speaking, without necessarily reading the response. 216 drivers for 149 vehicles, out of which 90 are grounded.
Chair, I think we cleared that with the auditor and we proved to them that the drivers, much as could have been slightly fewer, were necessary because we ran ambulances. Just now we're getting 10 new ambulances. We got 10 new vehicles also, but we ran ambulances, and because of our terrain and the referral system, because we're talking of a distance of 57,000 square kilometers, in which the sub-county hospitals sometimes can be, we have dispensaries, we have, and health centers, but to find a place where there's a doctor who can do surgery, they're quite apart. So these doctors work on, these drivers work on shift, and sometimes it's necessary to have more than one driver for ambulances, for water bowsers, because during the drought we ran a 24-hour emergency. So we actually ran 3 shifts to deliver water to the farthest points where the livestock could have moved to. So considering everything, we are not that off given the numbers that we need because of the ambulatory service system and the water bowsers and the emergency nature of our county operations.
You don't see a redundancy. You find it is justifiable because
Yes.
you have cited the health sector and maybe the water sector, but does that account for the full picture?
And also for the new fleet, because we are replacing our old fleet. We bought new vehicles. We're getting 10 new ambulances, and we already have, I think, 11 new vehicles. So taken together, Chair, because in certain instances we actually need 2 or 3 drivers for a vehicle, like the water bowsers. I think we're not that off, but we have frozen the employment of new drivers. In fact, there were more. So what we did at the beginning of this term, we pushed some of them to enforcement. We pushed some, the ones that could fit, into transfer them where they could be used. But it's not as bad as it looks given our emergency nature of operations.
So, Auditor General, you'll help us analyze the employee costs. You have reported it was at 37%, which is just about 2% above the threshold. But beyond the percentage, is it growing in absolute terms? Because the year here was 4.1 billion. Did it grow from prior year?
I think it reduced. Previously, it was 43.
It was 4.3.
43%.
It was at 43%.
Yes.
Sometimes that percentage is high because of a delay in disbursements. So what's the actual sum?
For the year in question, it reduced to that 7.
No. I'm saying percentages.
Yes.
Are sometimes the base is not complete. Okay. You might find that there was a delayed remittance, which was not reported in that year, and so the percentage looks different. They spent 4.1 billion in 2024-2025. Are you able to check how much they spent in prior year, in actual shillings, not percentage?
Maybe given time, I can check that.
Okay, you can interrogate that so that even when you are congratulating the governor for being at 37%, the percentage should not mask the actual growth in expenditure. Senator Murumu?
Yeah, I quite agree with you because if we are to reduce by, 5%, that is quite high. When maybe the contract of some particular kind of individual employees, the contract has not ended suddenly. It really should strike your mind why that percentage has reduced drastically by 5%. Sometimes it reduces because of increase in revenue. That is the shareable revenue. But is that what has happened here? We need just really to know.
Okay.
And then also, have you audited the other cadres of employees, or is it just drivers who are redundant? Because this is just redundancy. Wajir could be very rich. That in the year ending June 2025, you had already employed drivers for a fleet of vehicles that even up to now, 2026 June, has not arrived. You know, try to check redundancies also around other sectors.
Governor, maybe just as a question, maybe, I don't know whether you have the information, and it's a very quick one. At the time you are leaving office in 2017, what was a figure? What was a wage bill? At the time, no, maybe just in a global amount.
The wage bill was around 210 million, I think, at that time.
A month?
Per month, yeah.
So that was 2 billion.
Yeah.
2.4, 2.5 billion.
Yeah.
And now it is 4 billion.
Yes.
What do you, and what percentage was it of your total revenues back then?
I think at that time we were doing well. We were almost doing 50-50 between development and recurrent. Yeah, almost
So,
50-50.
so it was much less than
Much
30%?
Probably wage bill was much less than even 30% because the whole recurrent was about 50% use of goods and everything.
So this growth, is it normal? If you look at it, assuming you're just looking at it from an accountant's perspective, shouldn't it be something to worry about?
Yes, I think it was both organic, but also a lot of what do you call top-heavy employment was done. You know, because the number of directors that I came back to was much higher than what I left, and but also organic in the sense that since then and now, the number of facilities and things like that have also changed. One of the contributors to this was the water company, which I know is being done under the investments committee. We actually tried to hire people from the water, reduce the numbers from as much as 500 something to 200 and how many? To 258 thereabout, and went through some strenuous court process and had to pay some of them some out of court settlement just to whatever. So, Chair, also when people get into the payroll, it's not that easy to remove, because also our labor courts are pretty much on the employee side. So for now, the new recruitments are largely on need basis and in the area of health and ECD.
Okay, you have already breached the 35. 5 years ago, you were below 30.
Yeah.
It means that there is a problem, whether it's organic or whether it's all those factors you have cited. Auditor General, you did a payroll audit for all the counties. I expect that in this financial year, where you are going to start your audit, that issue of HR needs to come up. On HR, we keep talking of ethnicity, persons with disability, 1/3 salary rule, which is neither here nor there. But a growth of from 2 billion to 4 billion in a span of 5 years, offering the same services, is questionable. So please query that. I think we can deal with
Chair,
two things.
actually, I think let him do also a trend analysis, because we actually reduced. Much as we were recruiting some people for health, we also got rid of 106 people, health workers, who were on the payroll but not around. We chased away people with fake degrees and fake documents. So we reduced and used that space to try and recruit. Last year alone, I think we recruited 212 new nurses because of the new facilities. Now we've moved to a level 5. That new level 5 alone requires at least another 100 nurses for the new services. So it's both ways. But I want to assure you that on my watch, we will not recruit anyone we don't need. We'll try to access the 35%. We will not commit any procurement for which we have no money. And anything that we are unable to pay by the time we're leaving office, which was committed on our watch, we will tie the funds in the bank balance to the actual ongoing projects. As for the pending bills, we'll continue to chip in to the best of our ability through payment, and we'll find a solution for the statutory payables by paying what we can and committing the next government to an arrangement. I commit to that. So, Senator Chirgei,
I think that's fair.
I think,
looking at the time,
Chair, maybe,
Senator,
because it's tied
because
up
of the
to-
time, let's okay.
Maybe on
in
the
1
own
minute.
source revenue, Governor, how much are you collecting? And what is your revenue potential?
last year we collected 355, up from 36 when we came in. The last year we came in, it was 36. How much? 329 is what we collected last year.
What is your revenue potential? According to CRA?
CRA puts that at about, I don't know how much? Is it 600, maybe even slightly more. But
Maybe, Chair, our fiscal analyst, is he here today? How much is the revenue potential? Just because it's tied up with the
I
issues.
can't remember the
of-
exact figure, but yeah. That's,
Okay, you guys can check, but we've got the breakdown of the revenue performance. Out of 355 million, 258 came from hospitals. So largely it's driven by the hospital
That's
or the
where I
health,
was headed.
the health sector. In the remaining 2 minutes, quick question: your KIPES is worth 600 million,
Yes.
whereas all the KIPES are worth 500 million. What's the background to that?
no, it's not all the cabs that are worth 500 million. 500 million was the figure that was agreed that national government pays 250 and county pays 250. There are counties that actually have been able to commit to slightly lower than that, especially the ones around Nairobi. Ours, it was an open bid, and it's what people quoted. And because the cement comes from here, the stones come from Thika, so contractors it will cost us slightly more to construct than. I remember one of my colleagues, when he did the bid, his was, because he's a bit further from me, his was bidded at 800 something, and he said he can't afford it, he didn't do it. In my case, I felt that was cheaper to do today because of construction inflation than to do it tomorrow. So that was the lowest bid at 603.
What's your percentage completion?
100% complete. We are working with trade. We've been promised some money for what do you call common user facility, but the cold rooms are working and everything is working. We're going out to tender to see what investors to come and use. It's 100% complete.
Okay, finally, what is the state of exchequer releases? I know that there was a query on exchequer release. It's really a national treasury problem,
Yes.
but you could paint a picture for us in terms of Wajir and maybe even for the rest of the counties, because we have 2 weeks to close of financial year.
Yeah.
We saw here another county that received 4.5 billion shillings on the 1st of July, and they had to spend it within a day. Now you imagine how complicated that would be to spend 4.5 billion within the 14-day window. So what's the status in Wajir and globally?
In Wajir and globally, Chair, released and by Treasury is up to April. So on 15th of June, I sent out a letter to CS Mbadi on the status of disbursement of county equitable share, and what's outstanding to be received is 35.2 billion for May and 33.2 billion for June, 68.475. And the purpose of the letter was to request his office to urgently disburse 68.475 owed to counties for the months of May and June, and also hope that the system doesn't shut immediately on 30th of June to allow what is on the platforms to be paid. And it's usually a ritual we usually have at the cut-off month to allow to be paid. But yes, everyone has received up to April, May and June, not yet. I am hoping that will be released this week. Yeah.
Senator Sifuna?
I mean, next week.
Chair, because he has answered that question as chair of the COG, I also have one as COG chair. Governor, you have heard those trumpets outside. Have you heard the trumpets outside, Governor? You know, there's a,
Senator
just now when we were in this meeting. Have you
Oh, the
heard
trumpets.
any-
Oh, okay,
Yes.
the noises.
You know,
I
there's
didn't
a
know they're
surah-
trumpets, but
Yes, there's a surah in the Quran that talks about trumpets. And I think it says they'll be blown twice. The first one is for all of us to fall dead except the ones who Allah wills to remain. And the second one is for the resurrection.
Senator, you can take the shahada now that you know that.
Oh, just a minute. There's something. There's somewhere I'm going. Those trumpets, for us, we hear them every day, and they are from the Universal Health Coverage team. I would be remiss if I did not use this opportunity for you, as a Council of Governor Chair, to clear this controversy for us, because we feel bad that these workers are in the streets every day and blowing those trumpets that you heard. We have passed Dora, we have passed Kara, we have passed, I think, we have done the county government additional allocation. Governor, we have provided for money through the additional allocation for the absorption of these workers on permanent and pensionable. But they are here because they can hear some of your members saying that because this money is being channeled through the Additional Allocation Act, that they cannot absorb them on permanent and pensionable. I want you to tell us why this is not possible, because the money is there, it is assured, and it will be passed by successive senates every single year. Why can't you absorb these young people on permanent and pensionable, so that we all wait for only those two trumpets that we have referenced, Governor?
Okay, Senator
Chair, can I add just one quick, small, I ride on Senator Sifuna's issue of UHC. It has been a problem. I think maybe a number of you are lucky. I have received 1,000+ messages on WhatsApp and SMSs. We have seen the president speaking to it in Kajiado. Governor, what was your agreement between the CS of Health and you as a COG? Because it looks like at the ping pong game, we saw your chair of finance and budget going on record that out of 8.9 billion, they are not absorbed to PNP. And these are UHC staff that served us in 2020, when even soldiers in barracks could not come out to fight COVID. Don't you think it is unfair? For 6 years, they have been on contract. And I think, Chair, just in conclusion, these are people who are experienced. You don't need to keep them on probation. They can run our health facilities. And we should avoid, our worry is through the chair, is, we should not allow these people to be left hanging, because health is a devolved function as per the fourth schedule. So as a chair COG, and what is the position so that we can finish this thing once and for all for the betterment? I yield back.
Just to add one thing, and I don't know if that is what is happening in Wajir. In my county, these people have worked for 5 years. Now their contracts are over. Now, when my county government is employing, they don't absorb those. When there's new employment, those are left out. Is that the same situation in Wajir? And so when would they be absorbed?
Governor? And as you respond, the quorum bell is ringing in the House, so make it a brief one.
Chair, as we sit here this morning, I approved a letter, I wrote a letter rather to the CS for National Treasury, which probably should, for the CS for Health, Adendwale, which should hopefully reach him before the close of business today, about UHC. Because the agreement that we had was to keep these people in perpetuity. That allocation moves to bump up, increase the equitable share, so that it's there in the base of equitable share in perpetuity. And we're doing this, and actually that position also, we argued it at summit and agreed. So there's actually a summit decision to that effect. We even have letters from the minister to that effect, that please, going forward, we will increase, we will jointly fight for this money and increase as equitable share. The challenge governors have is that if we just go the conditional grant way, in the past there has been indiscipline by National Treasury in releasing conditional grants as approved. What is appropriated is not what aids have been disbursed, and there has been no mechanism to ensure that there's a follow-through. You know, for equitable share, even where the year closed with some balances, it's been paid in July before we got into the releases for the next fiscal. And for last year, I think everything was released by 30th of June. So, Senator, what I'm saying is, counties don't want to get tied up to an arrangement which they're not sure the money will come year on year. And this has been the argument. And so we're seeing the credible premise that was made that equitable share will include a specific amount to entrench the pay for UHC has not been done. And the risk also is one of gratuity, because we want to cut off from the old arrangement, and then now these people are absorbed on a permanent basis, and that the ministry deals with the issues that might arise as a result of gratuity. The ministry still wants to do what it is doing, which is provide money for the next 1 year. And there's no assurance that that money will be there in perpetuity. So we have no problem employing these people on a permanent basis. We are on their side. All we're saying is the credible promises which has been made. And why do you say this? Because in the past, there were also agreements that we entered in with the Ministry of Health on CPS, which monies didn't come.
Yeah, but yeah. Governor, just before I leave chair, money is money. Yeah. Money is money. The Senate has fought for an additional 13 billion, is it?
Yeah.
For this financial year. Why don't you use that one? And the Senate will still be there. Yeah. In fact, if we had gotten the 454 that we were promised, 450 we were promised by UDA, it would have been different. But unfortunately, Governor, money is money. If we have given you an extra 13 billion...
You should just say government.
Order.
It's a broad-based government, isn't it so, Governor?
Yeah, because
Governor, it's a broad-based government.
No, and that does not
Okay. Let's stop defining government. Let's go back to the
but Chair, you are a
concept.
member of a broad-based government.
Chair, my support for broad-based government does not preclude my ability to disagree with them on certain things. So on this one, we've been given the money for 1 year, we'll keep them for 1 year. You want us to keep them in perpetuity?
You have not answered me on the 13 billion extra.
No, I think, honourable members, because of time, what the governor is struggling to explain simply brings us to the conclusion that we are treating our workers very badly. We have seen it with pensions, we have seen it with gratuities, we have seen it also with this particular matter on UHC staff. That's a very unfortunate conclusion to this session.
PNP. No, we have added 13 billion from 415 billion to 428 billion. Why do they use this 13 billion? Nandi is getting almost 300 million additional from last year. Why don't they do PNP?
Because this obsession of ring fencing and yet you can allocate budgets is a problem. But Senator Ambu, I know you have a statement, so make it short.
Yes, I want to go and make some statement on the floor. But you see, Chair, that conversation, Governor, needs to happen.
Yes.
And this is not idle talk. The counties, the 47 counties, have an additional 13 billion Kenya shillings. You need 8 billion for onboarding UHE staff on permanent and pensionable. You know, Chair, there's this challenge that we're having with our counties where other things are important, but employees, we are still fighting. Fighting for what? There is already money. Use that money now on board the UHC. And Chair, you are saying about some counties that have received an additional, I don't know what. Cherargei, your county has received additional amount of money. They also received an additional 371 million Kenya shillings as affirmative action money. The same money was received by Taveta. That is excluding the additional equitable share for this financial year. Surely, if people are serious about their employees, there is an opportunity to onboard those people and deal with the tea and mandazis later. I mean, that can happen later after you've onboarded your employees.
And Chair, as I had said, these people are needed. The nurses are needed. That's why you've indicated that you want to employ 200 nurses this financial year. Taita Taveta has been employing but ignoring the UHC staff. It is bad. Why don't you, within then Council of Governors, pass a policy that they should absorb the UHC staff first before any other employment?
In fact, members, our failure as a Senate is that we are not very robust when it comes to budget implementation review. The control of budget generates those reports. We must be in that space, not necessarily to do the budgets the way the county assemblies do, but implementation review.
A thought has come to me. Let me just dispense with it and then I leave. Why can't the COG, if you are serious, because I'm not very sure you are, if the COG is serious, why can they cause a tripartite between themselves, the Senate, and perhaps the controller of budget or the Treasury, and we deal with this matter of UHC once and for all? If they are serious about it, well, why can't we have that conversation and deal with it? Yes.
Okay, members.
The argument of the governor,
we are going to
just 1 minute, Chair. From your argument, Governor, you look like you are helpless because you can precipitate this crisis to ensure that these issues are being resolved. Because I thought by the